venerable PSI captain, had signed a treaty with Central through Galileo. Galileo's captain, a man called Greg Foster, was widely considered to be an accomplished diplomat. Guanyin disliked diplomats. She always found they were too good at lying for her taste. So when Greg Foster had contacted her, ostensibly to introduce his ship, she had been cold, unfriendly, and more than a little blunt. "You waste your time with me, Captain Foster," she had told him. "It is the syndicates attacking your ships, not us." The last 6 months had seen a marked increase in syndicate raider activity, and for the first time in decades, they had included Central Core starships in their targets. PSI, who had dealt with raiders for centuries, was the obvious place for Central to turn when formulating their own strategies for dealing with guerrilla attacks. A request for help Guanyin might have understood, the sort of short-term alliance PSI and the Corps had formed repeatedly over centuries. She did not understand this amorphous buildup of Central's power, and it bothered her. What is Central planning? The baby rolled and kicked, and Samedi woke up, his wolfish face next to hers. She reached up a hand and rubbed him reassuringly between the ears. "Do you suppose they are trying to trick us, little one?" she asked. "Or do they fear something specific and don't want to tell us what it is?" Samedi gazed at her with his contented, worshipful eyes, and sneezed in her face. Callie heard her roll out of bed and came in from the sitting room to lean against the bathroom doorframe as Guanyin washed her face. "He's too young to be in bed with you," Callie said. "When he's old enough, he'll be too big. You slept with Shuya when he weighed more than you did. Shuya never weighed that much." Actually, Callie was right. Shuya had topped out at 60 kilos before he had started dropping weight due to illness and old age. Guanyin only broke 55 when she was pregnant. But she had been pregnant for half of Shuya's adult life, and she had grown used to having a dog curled up next to her, expanding stomach. "Samedi will learn." Callie crossed her arms and glowered. "Your face will freeze that way, you know." Not that it would matter if it did, of course. Callie was beautiful, and she knew it, breaking hearts without thinking much about it. Guanyin, who never doubted her own place in Callie's heart, yelled at her sometimes, but it made no difference, and she supposed Callie would have to grow out of it on her own. But Guanyin knew one of the reasons she had reacted to Captain Foster the way she had was because he reminded her of Callie, right down to the polite condescension. Guanyin turned away from the sink. "Can I ask you something?" Callie pushed herself off the doorframe as Guanyin walked past and asked Ornmila for some music. Guanyin settled back onto the bed, next to the patient puppy, wide awake now and wagging his entire body, trying and failing to resist licking her face. "No, love," she said sternly, and he backed off onto his haunches, waiting for her to change her mind. Callie pulled up a chair and sat next to the bed. "Is this about the Corps, Captain?" "He talked to me like you do sometimes. Like I'm helpless or too young to understand. He seemed to think I would find him persuasive and comforting just because he has a nice smile, never mind the volume of weapons his ship is carrying into our territory." At that, Callie grinned. "Did you swear at him?" It was Guanyin's turn to glower. "Why do you do it? When you know I understand all this better than you do, why do you treat me like a child?" Callie shrugged and looked away. "Because I love you, I suppose, and I don't like that things are hard for you. I want to do it for you, even when I can't." That was a surprisingly introspective observation for Callie. "Captain Foster doesn't love me." "Maybe you remind him of someone else." "Maybe he thinks, because I'm new, I'm a fool." She shook her head. "I don't understand. He dealt with Valeria Solomonov in the 5th Sector. You really think she let him get away with shit like this?" "Maybe she doesn't like him either." "I spoke to her. She trusts him. She said, and I quote, 'He is fighting what we are fighting.' You know what she didn't say?" "I wasn't there, Guanyin."